Welcome guys to the Meet Damien channel. I am Damien, and today's live stream we're talking about cryptocurrencies because that's the only thing that is trading during the weekends here in the markets. And we'll be taking a look at Bitcoin as well as some other cryptocurrencies here, and I'll be taking some of your requests as well for the cryptocurrency market here. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. We're currently looking at the price of Bitcoin, currently trading at $84,650. You can see that we've been in a downtrend, okay? Ever since like the middle of January here. And this downtrend has been giving us lower highs and lower lows, lower high, lower low, another lower high, another low low. And looks like we are currently breaking out of this downtrend. And we're looking to see if maybe if we get a back test here, Bitcoin could possibly come down to like 81K or $82,000 here. Back test that downtrend before we go up to higher prices here, where we could see Bitcoin get up to maybe $90,000. That might happen later on this week. Okay. But yeah, we're just looking at the naked chart here on Bitcoin. If I start pulling out some of the moving averages here, you'll get probably a better idea as like what's going on with Bitcoin here. All right, so now here we are. We got some moving averages, and you can see that this red line right here, this 200-day moving average, is very important. It's currently sitting at $87,300. That's actually my price target for Bitcoin later on this week. Could happen later on today or tomorrow. Okay. But I'm expecting some significant resistance at the $87,000 level. We almost came close to getting that high last night. We saw Bitcoin at $86,200. Okay, and we could possibly come right back up to that number again later on tonight or tomorrow. I'm just looking at the charts here, getting ideas like what Bitcoin might do next. Okay. Stochastic RSI is a little bit high here on the daily time frame here, but that doesn't mean that we can't just continue staying high as we go down to higher prices here. RSI is looking pretty good here. RSI is currently at 51, 52. We wouldn't really be considered overbought until we get up to like 70 on the RSI. So there's still some room to run here to higher prices for Bitcoin. And the MACD is showing some buying pressure starting to show up here. We want to see some more buying pressure and get a rally going on here, so we can get at least above that 200-day moving average, okay, that I'm targeting right now at 87K. And then once we get above 87K, I would have I would start be able to breathe a little bit easier, knowing that Bitcoin is trying to reverse the trend, this downtrend that we've been in, okay. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin comes right back to 81 or even $80,000 for that matter. And just back test this downtrend, make sure it uses it as support before we go up to higher prices here. Let's see what the VRVP has to say. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and change this chart over to the VRVP now. All right, so VRVP is these green and red bars here on the right side. You can see the point of control, the blue line is the price is magnetically attracted to that blue line. Okay. And it's saying that this blue line here is at $96,000. So that's actually my ultimate take profit target on Bitcoin. I'm expecting a Bitcoin to go up to $96,000. And that could happen really fast and really quick here because look, we got this big gap in the volume where we never really seen Bitcoin at $90,000 and actually stay there for longer than one day. Okay. So once Bitcoin starts pushing past $90,000, we're gonna probably come up to $96,000 in real quick, short order. It's gonna probably take people by surprise who don't watch this channel and don't follow crypto. They're gonna see Bitcoin at $96,000 as soon as this thing gets above 87, up to the high 80s here. Okay, so I'm expecting, like I said, Bitcoin to make an explosive move up to $96,000 based off the VRVP. Now, you know, that might not happen this week or even next week, but I'm expecting that to happen going forward into the next weeks and months to come here. What I do see here, if we're going to be bearish on Bitcoin, right? If $84,000 is not going to hold here on Bitcoin. We could come down to the high volume node. We got high volume node here at 82K. So I'm really expecting, I'm expecting and I'm hoping that $82,000 Bitcoin actually holds and stays as support. Because if we can't hold $82,000, then, you know, we can't be blind to all possibilities here. And Bitcoin could come right back down to like 78K, okay? Because you got a gap here at 80K, and then 78, 79K might be where we end up, you know, possibly back testing this yellow downward trend line here before we then go up to higher prices, okay? So we can still see lower prices as well as we can see higher prices here on Bitcoin. And that's basically my analysis on Bitcoin as of now. Okay. I see we got a question here from Noah. Noah, that indicator on the right side, this is the VRVP, Volume Range Visual Profile, which is a great indicator to use because it tells you where people were buying and selling the asset that you're looking at and what levels they were buying and selling it at. Like when you get a high volume, a lot of, you know, when you get this big hump right here, you're getting a lot of people buying and selling Bitcoin at like 84K in this case, okay? Then you see that not that many people were buying and selling at like 91, 92K, but then you see a lot of people bought Bitcoin at 96K based on the time frame that we're looking at. Okay, this is data going back to December here. Okay, you got to keep that in mind. But the VRVP gives me this point of control, this blue line, and it's saying that a lot of people bought Bitcoin at 96K, which leads me to believe that a lot of people are actually underwater. They're down on their Bitcoin investment, okay? Which leads me then to believe that, you know, as we start pushing up to higher prices, there's probably not going to be that much selling until we get to 96K, and then once we get to 96K, then people will probably say, all right, I'm done with Bitcoin. I want out. I'm breaking even. I'm getting out of this asset. Okay. For those who can't handle it anymore, or they're done with Bitcoin, that's probably where they're gonna start selling, is at 96K. Okay. Also, there's gonna be people who want to buy Bitcoin because they think it's gonna go up to higher prices, and they're gonna want to get it below 100K just to say that they got it below 100K. So I see a lot more buying and selling at 96K if we do start heading up to that area. TikTok user says Bitcoin's headed to 40K. I would like to know why you think Bitcoin's heading to 40K. You got to give me something other than a gut feeling. Like, we're using the charts and numbers here. Bitcoin, right? If I zoom out here, okay, and I get more data, the VRVP is saying that the point of control, right, using data from like 2024, point of control is at 42K. So maybe you might be right about that $40,000 number, okay? But in order for us to get down to 40K, we then have to contend against a lot of volume here on the VRVP at 60K and 68K, okay? So you got $66,000, $67,000 Bitcoin is going to get a lot of support at that area. You also got right over here, you got some highs that were made back in 2024 at like 67, 68K. So we have to push through all those people that bought at 67, 68K, who are going to then finally be at break even before we actually start going to lower prices here. And I would say once you lose 57K, then yeah, you got to be on the lookout, because there's a gap here on the VRVP, and then you could see 40K. Yeah, if we're going to be that bearish, then yeah, you know, it could happen. Not saying that's likely to happen. It's a possibility, but yeah. You know, this is now we're looking at data on the VRVP that's pulling everything from like December of 2023 till now. TikTok says 69 is the next stop. Okay, that's always a possibility. I'm open-minded here. Okay. 69K is always a possibility, but I don't see 69K happening within the next week. Okay, we still have to contend against you know, all this volume here, you know, at 81K and 82K. Okay, so we do have some support at 81, 82K, and then we got a little bit of support at 79K, and then of course we got some volume here at 74 and 76K. So we have to break through those levels first before we can say that Bitcoin is gonna go down to 69K. But I would say 69K seems like a more likely target than 40K in the near term here. Yeah, for sure. I got another question here. Do I think Bitcoin and altcoins will continue dropping? And then when? So do I think Bitcoin and altcoins will continue dropping? Well, like I said, anything is possible. All right. But we do have some support that we just created here, okay, on Bitcoin and crypto, and especially like right over here, okay, as I start zooming in, we do have a double bottom here at like 74.4K, and then over here 74.6K here. Okay, that was the reversal pattern that traders and investors spotted that sent the price up. We would then have to come right back down to like 74K before I would start getting worried about Bitcoin possibly breaking past that. And then all this, price action that we just did over the last few days, that would have to get, invalidated if we go below 74K. Okay. It's always a possibility. Now, the thing is, we are forming kind of like a rising wedge here. Okay. And rising wedges, they do break down to the downside, so we do have to be on the lookout for that this thing could possibly break down and come right back to like 74, 75K before we go up to higher prices again. But I'm not totally oblivious to the fact that we can go down just as much as we could go up. Okay. Near term, short term wise, we might come down. That's why I say, like, short term wise, we could come down to like $81,000. Like, we have some candle wicks, some support here at $80,000, $81,000 Bitcoin, which would also back test this downtrend line that we've been in. We could use that as support, and then traders and investors might step in and send the price higher again. So do I think Bitcoin and altcoins will go down? Possibly, and if they do, it's going to be within the next few days, but later on into next week, I think we could still be bullish on Bitcoin and crypto. TikTok user, you still think Bitcoin is extremely bearish? I would like to know why. Okay, hopefully you're not short selling near the lows. The time to be bearish on Bitcoin was back here. Okay, back here when we were at $109,000. Okay, $108,000 in like January of 2025. Okay, because if I go ahead and I start turning on some indicators here, you'll see why. All right, let me go ahead and put my normal chart here. Okay. And I'll just hide this for a second here. We were showing bearish, okay, bearish divergence. Let me just go ahead and get rid of this right here. So you can see the RSI. When we were like topping out here in November with like an RSI of like 82, okay, and we had an RSI of like 82 in late November 22nd here. And then we kept making lower highs on the RSI while going up in price. That was bearish divergence, okay? For those who don't know what bearish divergence is, you got lower highs here on the RSI, okay? While you're creating higher highs on the price, okay? That right there is divergence, and it's bearish divergence. This was the time to get bearish on Bitcoin. Even though Bitcoin was at $100,000, it did get as low as like $90,000, but this was the time to start, raising the alarm bells on Bitcoin. When you see the price going up, but the relative strength, the buying power is just not as strong anymore, Okay, that was the time to start putting in your shorts on Bitcoin and start short selling crypto. Was around like November, December, going into January of this year. Okay, now Bitcoin is creating higher lows on the RSI. Buyers are stepping up to the plate right now. Okay, even though we're making lower lows on price, we're making higher lows on the RSI. And guess what? Now you have bullish divergence, okay? Because you got these lower lows here on the price, but you're creating higher lows here on the RSI. It's time to get bullish on Bitcoin, not bearish. So I can't really agree with you when you say it's extremely bearish on Bitcoin. Just because the price is low is not the time to become bearish. You got to have more than just price alone. You got to be looking at the indicators here. Okay, indicators going to tell you where the price might be going next. Right now, the price is saying that the price and the indicator is saying that Bitcoin could possibly be going up to higher prices in the future. So I wouldn't be too bearish on it. Weekly, monthly, yeah, okay. I mean, we can look at the weekly chart here on Bitcoin. I'm not sure why you're extremely bearish on Bitcoin. Okay. Let me go ahead and just get rid of this indicator here. But going back to what I was saying here, like I'll go ahead and get rid of these lines here. We'll redraw things here for you. Right? Maybe it might be time for you to learn some things about bullish and bearish divergences, so you can understand when's a good time to be bullish and bearish on an asset. But I'll give you the textbook answer here, okay? Bitcoin's creating higher lows here on the weekly time frame, okay? We haven't really made a lower low yet on the weekly time frame, so we would have to go lower than what we did here back in September when the price was at $54,000. So, you know, we're still in a bullish uptrend on price, okay? And then on top of that, right, you have lower lows here, okay, on the RSI, right? So what does that indicate? For those who don't know, what this is indicating is this is actually hidden, yes, hidden bullish divergence, okay? You have price here going up higher, okay? You have the RSI going lower. What this is showing that the people that are selling Bitcoin, the bears, okay, that are selling Bitcoin, they're pushing the price of Bitcoin down, right? We can all see that, right? But they're not able to push it down further than what they did back here in September when the RSI was at 44.71, okay? We had RSI here of like 44.5 and 43. So the selling pressure was as strong as they can do. They try to sell Bitcoin as best as they could, but they couldn't actually push the Bitcoin price lower than 60K. So we have hidden bullish divergence on Bitcoin. I'm sorry, my friend. Looking at the weekly chart just makes me even more bullish on Bitcoin. Because the bears can't do crap to the price of Bitcoin. And now you have talks of quantitative easing coming into play here. And they might be lowering interest rates next month. What do you think that's going to do to the price of Bitcoin and crypto going forward? It's probably going to send the price of Bitcoin higher, right? I'll answer that question for you. Let's see. We got Jim in the chat here. Hey, good to see you. Glad to see that you made it onto the live stream here. Let me just read your comments here. You're saying after Biddy confirms that trend line with another touch, it's go time. Got people calling targets like they're picking lotto numbers. Even Bloomberg analysts are calling to go to $10,000. Gap down right now before see me open, see me close 84K. Yeah, so yeah, Jim, you are right. We'll look at the Bitcoin futures chart since you mentioned it. So the Bitcoin futures is saying that Bitcoin closed at $84,000 on Friday here, which leads me to believe that Bitcoin is actually going to probably like hang out at $84,000 probably in the next couple hours. until CME futures opens, and then we'll probably see some more momentum as some of these professional traders and investors around the world start buying and selling Bitcoin on the futures market here. But yeah, right now Bitcoin, at least on Coinbase Exchange, Bitcoin is trading at 83,800. So we're already there. So there's probably not going to be a gap. There's not going to be a gap on the futures. So we don't have to worry about a futures gap having to be filled up here on the price of Bitcoin, because we're already at the price that we closed at on Friday. Let's go into like the 15-minute chart here. Let's see what's going on here. Get a better idea as what's going on, where the price of Bitcoin might be going next. You can see that on the 15-minute chart, we are creating higher lows. We had the double bottom right here on price for like Monday and Tuesday were some good times to be buying Bitcoin. And then we got the good news about the tariff pause on Wednesday, which sent the price up. And you know, right now on the 50-minute time frame, we're just creating higher lows here, right? That looks like higher lows to me. Okay. In the meantime, we're making higher highs. So 50-minute time frame is showing that we can just continue on here. Let me go ahead and pull up my indicators here real quick. I think I gotta move this thing up to the top here. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. I wanted this one. Okay. Yeah. All right. So looking at the RSI, RSI. I don't see anything too crazy here on the RSI here. We did have like a little bit of a sell-off here in the morning hours, and last night after Bitcoin topped $86,000. Yeah, Bitcoin taking a little consolidation and breathing pattern here. It's just breathing, trying to create some consolidation here. And yeah, I am a little bit worried that we lost the 15-minute 200 MA. So that is, you know, gives me pause that we could possibly be seeing lower prices later on tonight, maybe. Okay, but this is on the 15-minute time frame. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. 1 hour time frame shows that you know, the moving averages are below us. We got above the 200 MA, so I can still be bullish as long as we're above the 200 MA on the 1 hour time frame here. We got the 50 moving average at $82,800. So if Bitcoin does start pushing down, let me get rid of this yellow line here. If Bitcoin does push down, I'm expecting, and I'm going to be looking to see if any professional traders out there are going to start, if the bulls are going to start defending this green line here in the 1 hour time frame, that 50 moving average, then you can use that as guidance that we're going to go to higher prices here. Stochastic RSI is starting to get a little bit high there, okay, but we can stay high as we continue to go to higher prices. So that's just something to be on the lookout for. And then as I zoom into the MACD, okay, now look at the MACD on the 1 hour time frame, showing that we're getting less selling pressure. The fireworks might be starting, you know, when CME futures open up at like 6 p.m. East Coast time, about a couple hours from now. We might see some green start to show up on the MACD and get some buying pressure going here for Bitcoin, and that might be good for crypto. So it's really like, it's a toss-up between, are we going to be bullish or bearish? I'm still leaning towards being bullish, you know, as long as we're above the 200 moving average on the 1 hour time frame here. As long as we can able to maintain this 50 moving average as it continues creeping up higher, if we can use that as a line of support, then yeah, I believe that we could still see Bitcoin go up to $87,000. That's my near-term price target for this week, bullish price target, and that's basically using, you know, the double bottom here that we formed here on Monday last week and Tuesday of last week. You know, the way you figure out how high you can go in the double bottom is you just take that measured move, right? You measure from the bottom here at 74,000 to the top here that we made here on Tuesday at $80,000, You take that measure move, you put it on top of the top in between the two bottoms here, and it gives you a price target of about 86,800, roughly $87,000 here on Bitcoin. All right, and that $87,000 number, right? It gets confirmed by this. If I go out, you know, looking at the Fibonacci analysis here, where Bitcoin topped out $109,300 on January, and we came down to $74,000 here in April. We got the 0.786 retracement level saying that the 0.618 level saying that $87,600 could also be, you know, a level that traders are going to be, especially if you're a Fibonacci trader. You're probably looking at this level right here saying that, all right, when Bitcoin gets up to $87,000, this should be a good reaction zone. That might be a good take profit target, $87,000. So I still have $87,000 as my price target going into this week. So you got like a $3,000 move possible here on Bitcoin. And then of course, if Bitcoin continues going bullish here, right? Then we got that $91,000 number here. Almost $92,000. That's the 0.5 retracement level. And then of course, the big daddy number is $96,000, which is the 0.382 retracement level, which is also where the point of control is hanging out at. I showed that earlier on the live stream here, but for those who missed out on it, if I just pull out the VRVP, hey, come on, give me my indicators here. Why are you taking forever to load up? I'll just go over here to my templates here. But if I pull the VRVP here, okay, the VRVP is saying that the point of control is at $96,000, so that's an ultimate take profit target. It could possibly, you know, Bitcoin could go up to $96,000 and make a lower high, and then, you know, for those who are saying that they're bearish on Bitcoin, that would be a good time to start short selling Bitcoin if you're going to be bearish on Bitcoin. But yeah, I wouldn't get too bearish on Bitcoin because we might be reversing trend here, as I've already said. I did a lot of talking about Bitcoin. Let's see what these other cryptos could possibly do. You guys have any requests out there? Let's see. Jim said that he wants to look at NKN. Okay, we can look at NKN since you made that request. All right, and then I'm just reading some of the comments here on my from my TikTok guys. TikTok user said that the double bottom was about to fail before Trump tweeted he's the only thing that saved it. Bearish. Well, that's the thing. He saved it. What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna stay in your short and lose more money, or are you gonna try to play the markets as they are in front of you? Play the charts in front of you. Okay. If you were to short Bitcoin right now, we'll just stay on Bitcoin for one more second here since you mentioned it. If you were to short Bitcoin, right, I would keep my stop loss tight, right? I probably put it like $86,000 because if we revisit $86,000, we're probably gonna go past that to like $87,000. I wouldn't really start putting in shorts until we get up to the $87,000 area, to be honest with you. You'll have a much more juicier short if you can wait until we get to 87K and then you short it. But anyways, let me get into NKN here for my friend Jim. And I believe that's crypto, right? You want NKN crypto, not the corporation. Let's look at NKN. All right. NKN currently trading at almost a little bit under 2 pennies here. I am looking at the 4-hour chart right now. Yikes. Let's see. NKN. Looks like you're creating some lower lows here. I see possible falling wedge, maybe. A descending wedge. This could break out to the upside here for you, Jim. Let me go ahead and let's get some more indicators in here. Let's see if the reason why Jim requested this, I believe, is because we are showing some bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. Bullish divergence is great because that means that the buyers are stepping in at these prices. As the price goes low, more buyers start showing up. Okay, you got your bullish divergence, right? If I need to draw it out for you guys here, you're creating higher lows here on the RSI. Buyers are stepping up even though the prices are going down. You got your bullish divergence. This thing could possibly break out to the upside here. Let me get into the daily time frame here. Let's see. Wow. Okay, so this thing has seen higher prices here. Let me go with the weekly time frame. Yeah, this thing. Wow. Okay, so this thing has been as high as like almost like 81 cents here, and this thing you can get it for the dirt cheap price of only 2 cents. So this cryptocurrency has been beaten down, my friend Jim. Hopefully you didn't take that beat down with it. I hope you're just trying to bottom fish and bottom feed off of here. But yeah, if this thing goes lower, it has seen lower prices back here in like March of 2020 when this thing was at like a penny. Okay, so this thing could still go lower. I will never say that it can't. Okay, but I do like that bullish divergence that I was seeing on the 4-hour time frame here. So I think you could strategically plan this out where you put a stop loss at like a penny and a half maybe. Okay, I think that's like a 10 or 20% stop loss, but you could be seeing this thing come up to higher prices. And if it does, you know, let's turn on the VRVP here real quick. Let's see what the VRVP has to say as it goes into the daily time frame here. Oh man, the VRVP is saying that you do have a lot of volume here where you're currently at, 2 cents. Point of control is at roughly 2 cents. That blue line is almost right on the white line. The point of control and the value area low are really tight here. Okay. If this thing does go to higher prices, you got 2.5 cents as your first take profit target, Jim. And then you got a big gap, and then you won't see more resistance until you get to 4 cents. So you could possibly double your money here on this asset. I can see that. And as I zoom in, the VRVP reset itself, and it's saying that the value area high in this crypto is at 4 cents. So that'd be my first take profit target, 4 cents. And you basically double your money. Congratulations if you're in that asset. Yeah, Jim, it could go down. It could go down to 1 penny or a penny and a half. Like I said, I would put the stop loss at like a penny and a half. Because if it can't hold a penny and a half, then it's probably going to go down to a penny. Makes sense, right? Makes sense to me. Alright, let's see if there's any more other requests here in the chat. John Ford saying something about Mantra. Probably take a look at Mantra. User 472, a bunch of numbers, is asking when's a good time to buy coins again. I think now is a better time to buy cryptocurrencies, or even the stock market for that matter. But you said coins, right? So I'm assuming you're talking about crypto coins. I would say now is a good time to start buying some cryptos. A lot better than trying to buy it in January or December, where we're at all-time highs and creating bearish divergence on the charts. There might be some people who are still bearish and thinking that crypto's going to go down to 60K, and they might be right. They might think Bitcoin's going down to 60K, and they might be right. And if it does go down to 60K, I make sure I have a little bit more dry powder, have a little bit of cash to be scooping up crypto if Bitcoin does go to 60K. But I think now would be the time. A lot better time than January and December. Those were the times to be selling January and December was the time to be selling crypto. And I was actually selling my Solana in like January of what, 3 months ago at like 220 bucks. The last time I sold Solana, like once Solana broke below 180 bucks, we'll take a look at Solana now. When Solana broke below the 200-day moving average and below 180 bucks, that's when I got out of Solana. Okay. Let me see. Right. So just looking at Solana, we're looking at the price of Solana. We're currently trading at 128 bucks right now. Solana, the 200-day moving average, that red line, right? It needed to hold. And once we broke below it, you know, over here in February, right after Valentine's Day, you know, that 200 moving average was sitting at like 183 bucks. Okay. Once we got 100, I put my stop loss at 180 bucks. It got hit. And thank God I put the stop loss in there, because look at this. We came right down to low prices, and now we're at 128 bucks on Solana. So I saved myself a lot of grief and pain by just respecting that 200-day moving average, okay? You can see that they tried to defend the 200-day moving average back in like the middle of January, and they tried to defend it again here in beginning of February, but we came right back to it again, and we weren't able to defend it towards the middle and end of February, and then that was like, all right, yeah, this thing wants to go down. So anyways, that's a little bit of a Solana right there. Since I'm on topic here with Solana, you know, I think Solana, you know, if we're going to be bullish on Solana and this thing continues going up and to the right and making higher prices, we might get some, we might get a little bit of reaction at 170 bucks, which is where this 50-day moving average is at. Okay. And I don't know why there we go. I'm trying to get the VRVP back here. Okay, and I think the VRVP is also saying, yeah, like 180 bucks, 170 bucks could be a good reaction area. You got a gap here. Once Solana gets past 140 bucks, it's going to jump right up to like 170, 180 in no time. Okay, kind of like it did here back in the beginning of March here. Once we got it past 140 bucks, we shot up right up to like 170, 180 bucks, but then we came right back down again. So once we get past 140 bucks on Solana, I would see, I could see 170, 180 coming up real short. Okay, TikTok, yeah, I'll look at Mantra. TikTok user. Well, you gotta pay attention to the charts here, TikTok user, because you could still save yourself from losing a lot of money, just as you can make a lot of money in crypto. Okay, that's why I have my stop loss on the 200-day moving average for Solana. I save myself from losing a lot of money as we continue going down. But yeah, let me go ahead and look at Mantra for you. Look at KuCoin Exchange. Yeah, see what the, oh my god, what the hell? Is that really happening here on KuCoin Exchange? Did this thing drop down 90%? Jesus Christ. 90% drop right now? That's gotta be a glitch in the system here. Let's see what it looks like on Kraken. Oh my god, what the hell is going on here with Mantra? This thing is down 90% today? Does somebody know what the news is about Mantra right now? Because this thing is literally having a heart attack. If this was a Stark, it would be going bankrupt soon. What the? 90%. Yikes. Wow. Look at this, guys. Yeah, I'm going to like clean up the charts here, but Jesus Christ. Sorry, I shouldn't be using the Lord's name in vain, but what the hell? That is a, you know, when they say God candle, this is a devil candle, okay? Down 91% in one day. This thing was trading at, what, $6 just yesterday? And now you're at 56 cents, down 90% in one day. I kind of want to see what the hell is going on here. I'm going on coinmarketcap.com. Let's see. Mantra, what the hell? Wow, even on coinmarketcap.com it's saying that it's down 90%. So this is something going on here. I gotta just find out what the news is for this thing. Mantra crypto news. What the hell? Crashes 80% number. Was it a rug pull? Like, what the hell? The price of Mantra has collapsed in what some traders are calling the worst project collapse since the Luna crisis. This is news to me here. This is what? When did this come out? This news article came out 26 minutes ago. The price of Mantra, native cryptocurrency, real-world token asset blockchain collapsed 90% on April 13th. Mantra fell from a price of $6.30 to below 50 cents and shed over 90% of its $6 billion market cap. Traders characterizing the collapse as an apparent rug pull. The team needs to address this, or OM looks like it could head to zero. Biggest rug pull since Luna. Somebody wrote. However, the exact reason for the collapse is not clear at the time of the writing. Wow. I mean, you guys should probably go look up on Twitter to see what's going on. Even this news article here doesn't know what the apparent reason is for this drop in price. But, I mean, this thing looked like it was just creating, you know, on the daily time frame here. We were respecting this uptrend. We were basically creating higher lows on the daily time frame, and then rug pull. Wow. When did it start? Let's see. Let's go into like the 15-minute time frame. When did this thing actually start dropping? Okay, so it looks like some bad news started happening around like 12 o'clock East Coast time here in the United States. 12:30 we got a drop of like 3% and almost 4% in 15 minutes, and then we just kept making red candles after that. Looks like somebody tried buying it up at lower prices at 1 o'clock, and then the bearish trend just kept going. And then it looks like we didn't really get the big giant red candle of doom. The doomsday candle came in at like 2 o'clock, 2:15 East Coast time, about a couple hours ago. I mean, if this thing is not going bankrupt, if this is not a rug pull, then geez, you could possibly make a lot of money buying Mantra right now and just put a stop loss at like, 10% stop loss, I would say. This thing came as low as 37 cents. Maybe put a stop loss at 36 cents. But wow, Jesus. Yeah, Jim. Mantra looks like it's doing a rug pull right now. Oh, okay. So you got some news here for us, Jim. You're saying that Mantra team, they dumped their coins and deleted the Telegram? Well, that would be it. That would probably be why this thing is dumping. I would probably not be buying if that's the case. I was just saying, if I was a technical trader that wanted to do a quick scalp here, you could try to buy it. I think I tried doing the same thing with Luna back 3 or 4 years ago when Luna did the same thing. But that ended up being, the thing was going bankrupt. So, and I didn't really put too much into it. I just put some money in just in case it was going to flip. If it was just like a... fake news or whatever, but apparently it was real news. TikTok user, are you being funny? Are you saying that that's bullish as F for Bitcoin. I mean, if that could be causing the price of Bitcoin to be going down the past couple hours here. But as I'm talking right now, Bitcoin is actually climbing up right now. I think when I started the stream, Bitcoin was just below $84,000. Right now on Coinbase, Bitcoin's trading at 84,200. So we'll most likely see Bitcoin stay at this price because that's where the CME futures closed at, was $84,000 right here. So yeah, interesting. We'll have to see how the news plays out. Find out some more news about Mantra and OM. We'll see if the founders are running away and on the run from law enforcement, because I feel like that's going to be the next bit of news that we're going to hear next. Mantra founders cannot be found on the run. That's probably going to be what you're going to be hearing next here. All right, let's take a look at some other cryptos here. We'll take a look at the XRP for my XRP crowd here. XRP currently trading at $2.13. I actually bought some XRP this weekend at about $2, right above $2, like $2.01. So I'm actually up on my position on XRP. Let's see, we're going into let's go into the daily time frame here on XRP. So one of the reasons why I bought XRP is because not only does it have a cult following, and you guys won't let it go below like $1.50 here, but XRP is also one of the stronger high market cap cryptocurrencies, and it's above its 200-day moving average, which we can't say the same thing for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not above the 200-day moving average. However, Ripple XRP is, and XRP got this bounce off the 200-day moving average. So I'm thinking like, hey, you're showing some strength here. And then on top of that, on the MACD here for XRP, you got less selling pressure and you're getting some buying pressure showing up. So you got some green candles. So maybe we could get a rally that could send us to possibly the 50-day moving average here at $2.50 is my first price target on Ripple. And then once you get past $2.50, I see $3 coming up real quick for Ripple. Okay, so Ripple might have a 50% gain coming up on deck here. And if I turn on the VRVP, you'll see even more reason why I'm bullish on XRP. Okay, so you got the point of control at 236 right here. But once you get it past 240, 250, you got a gap here, and it says that XRP could come right up to like $3.13. Now, I don't like the way the VRP here looks here, guys. Let me go ahead and I'll show you what I do to get the VRP to look the way I like to look at it. First of all, I like the point of control to be blue in the settings here. And then when it comes to inputs here, I put a 0. So it's 240 on the row size. And then your VRVP will start to look like this. Okay. And there you go. The blue line, point of control, sitting at $2.40. You got that nice gap that says that, you know, Ripple could come up to $3.13. Could be a dollar higher in the future here for XRP. Michael wants to look at XLM. Okay, yeah, we can take a look at XLM. I'm just trying to see if I missed any other requests here. Yeah, we talked about Mantra already. And oh, okay, yeah, Juan did want us to look at XRP, and we just looked at XRP just now. Yeah, so just going back here on XRP before I move on to XLM. You can strategize being bullish here on XRP. You can put your stop loss right below the 200-day moving average. I like $1.79, $1.80. And if we lose that 200-day moving average, then there might be something wrong with Ripple, and we might come down to lower prices here. And if we do, the VRVP is saying that, you know, we could get some support at $1.50, $1.45 here on XRP. But you probably don't want to lose that much money. That's why I would put the stop loss at like $1.80 or $1.90. And right now the 200-day moving average is at $1.88. So yeah, $1.80 is probably where I put the stop loss at for XRP. Hope that I don't get hit. And if I do get hit, then it means we are going lower then, most likely. If we're below the 200-day moving average. But yeah, let me get on to some of these other requests here. We're gonna look at XLM. And then we'll look at Chainlink from my friend Pranav. I think I'm saying that right. All right, so here we are. We're taking a look at Stellar Lumens XLM, currently at 24 cents. And what can we make out of this chart here? Zooming out and looking at XLM here. We are below the 200-day moving average, so that automatically tells me that we're bearish on XLM, okay? Or at least we have been bearish because we lost the 200-day moving average. I want to see this thing capture and reclaim the 200-day moving average, which is sitting at 29.30 cents. So once we get above 30 cents here on Stellar Lumens, I'll start to become more bullish on XLM. You see I got some previous chart work here with the Fibonacci analysis. It's saying that 30 cents should be the reaction level there. So yeah, 30 cents is probably where this thing is going to go back up to if it continues being bullish. But don't be surprised if we get rejected off of 30 cents and come back down to lower prices. It just means that we're getting a reaction at that zone because other traders are looking at the Fib node and they're also looking at the 200-day moving average, and it's saying that 30 cents would be a good take profit target for the short-term traders out there. If we are going to continue being bearish on XLM, then I do have the VRVP showing that we should get some support at like 20 cents here. And you can see that I think we did come down to 20 cents. Yeah, we came down to 20 cents here on XLM on April 7th, about a week ago. So if I was to strategize getting into a position here on XLM, I would probably, you know, maybe buy here at 24 cents, put the stop loss at like 19 cents, just below that candle wick low on April 7th here. And if we do come down to 19 cents, then yeah, I don't want anything to do with Stellar Lumens, because that probably means we're going to go down to lower prices. And if we do go to low prices, you might see Stellar Lumens come down to like 13 or even 12 cents here, according to the VRVP, before you actually get some support again. So that's my those are my bearish targets on XLM. Bullish, we want to see it come up to 30 cents, reclaim that 200-day moving average, and then we'll see if this thing can climb to higher prices, where the VRVP says that you could see Stellar Lumens at 35 cents before we get a gap up, and then we go up to like maybe like 40 cents here on Stellar Lumens. And then you're going to be contending against the 100-day and the 50-day moving average as well as you get up to those higher prices. Alright, so here we go, XLM. We talked about XLM, and I think the next one was Chainlink. Yep. Take a look at Chainlink. Link the slink. I don't know why I say that. I think I heard someone else say that. Linky the slinky. Alright, Chainlink. Currently trading at $12.74. This one is also got beaten down and below its 200-day moving average. These cryptos aren't as strong as XRP. You can see why I went into XRP is because we were above the 200-day moving average on XRP. But here on Chainlink and the one that we just talked about, XLM, you know, this crypto Chainlink is below the 200-day moving average at you know, 200-day moving is at $17.19. Okay, I can't be bullish on Chainlink until we get above that 200-day moving average. Okay. Now, you can still make money buying here and trying to see if this thing climbs back up to the 200-day moving average, right? You got the point of control right now at $11, so I'd probably put my stop loss right there. If I was to, you know, if you forced me and said, David, you got to buy Chainlink right now. All right, so I buy it at $12.70 right now, okay? And then, you know, put the stop loss at the point of control here at like $11.20. And then I try to ride this puppy up to higher prices. And then I'll probably take my first take profit target at like $17 here around Chainlink. Just using the moving averages here. Chain link looks like the MACD is showing some buying pressure starting to show up, so buyers are stepping up to the plate and buying it. RSI looks like we had a low here on February 28th, and then we had another low here of 30 on the RSI on April 8th. So we are creating slightly higher lows here on the RSI, so that makes you feel a little bit better that there might be some bullish divergence starting to show up here on the chart, and it just means that buyers are actually showing up. So you know, the RSI is saying that buyers are showing up, and the MACD is showing that buyers are showing up to the plate here. Stock RSI, stochastic RSI is starting to get a little bit high, so that just confirms that the buyers are showing up. So yeah, we could be possibly bottoming out here on Chainlink. Okay, Pradnav, you're hoping for the confirmed bullish divergence. Yeah, you know, what you're basically looking for is you're just seeing that if this thing does come down, it doesn't create a lower low. You want to create a higher low here. Maybe we come down to like $11.60 and then go up to higher prices again. And you want to see a little higher high, and then you know for sure that this thing is back in a bull trend again. Jim, you said you wish you were still shorting OM. What made you think that OM was ripe for being a good short? I haven't really been paying attention to it, but I am now. Now that the thing has dropped 90% in one day. Let me see. What else do you have here? When I sort of break down to that area. You want me to take a look at ARQQ? I can take a look at that for you, Jim. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll take a look at ARQQ. ARQQ, Arquit Quantum, is a technology company here, currently trading at $15, up 4.38% on Friday. Let me just zoom out here for my TikTok, guys. Okay. And I'll just get rid of that for now. We are looking at ARQQ, and this thing looks like it shot up, right? Kind of like almost just like crypto here. Probably got the Donald Trump pump in November. We've seen this thing get as high as like $52.79. Right now it's down at 15 bucks. Okay, yikes. So this, I'm assuming this is a small cap technology stock here, if it's going to be making a drop of like 70 or 80% here. Let's see. But yeah, what can we make of this thing? This thing is still in a uptrend, even though it had such a violent pullback in January. You are making higher lows here on the price, okay? You're also contending up against this 200-day moving average, this red line right here. 200-day moving average is at $13.94. As long as you're above the 200-day moving average, you can be cautiously optimistic and bullish on this stock here. What I do see could be a possibility here is you got a double bottom here, Jim. And you know how double bottoms play out here, Jim, right? If you've been watching my channel for a while now. You got the one bottom here, two bottom here. It looks like the bottom's at like $10 and what, $10.90 here. 11 bucks. We'll just say 11 bucks, okay? So we'll measure it from 11 bucks here is the double bottom. You just measure from the bottom to the top here in between the two bottoms. You take that measure move, right? Put on top of the top. It gives you an idea as like how high this thing could possibly go. you could see the stock come right back up to like $37, right? Just using the double bottom as a chart pattern. That's usually how a double bottom would play out, okay? But you know, I would need to see some confluence with some other indicators that would indicate that this thing would go up to like $37 here, Jim. Let's see. We had like a daily candle here. We have a gap here. So maybe this gap would want to get filled at one point. But that daily candle, it closed out at $35. So maybe whoever bought that day is probably going to want to sell when this thing gets back to 36, 37 bucks, and they'll just be breaking even on their stock here, their stock purchase. So that could be one reason why this thing could come up to $37 and start seeing some selling pressure. Let me go ahead and turn on the VRVP here, see if there's any anything here with the volume profile. And you got like a little bit of a high volume node here at like $38. So yeah, I would say if this thing comes up to $38, Jim, $37, you got the double bottom saying that this thing could come up to $37. You also got the VRVP saying $37, $38 is a good time to sell this stock. And this thing could possibly be a double, right? If it gets back up to $30, you'd be buying it right now at $15, and $30 seems to be a good take profit target. And you can strategize getting into the stock, right? If you buy here at $15, you probably put the stop loss. Well, I mean, you could put the stop loss at like $10.50 and hope that it doesn't get triggered. Keep your stop right below these double bottoms here, okay? But that's a pretty generous stop loss. You'll be losing about roughly 33%, right? If I measure that out. Yeah, you'd be having a stop loss about like 28%. You could possibly lose. So I wouldn't put too much money into this. At least not too much of your portfolio in this stock here. This is more of a trade. And you're short-term trading the stock, and you're putting your stop loss at like $10.50. You're buying it at $15, and you're hoping that this thing can climb back up to like $30. And if the double bottom plays out, it should take you to $37. And the VRVP says that you should be selling at that price as well, because you got a lot of volume at that level. You're welcome, Jim. That's I'm just trying to do my best here with the analysis. I appreciate your requests here. Let me see if I got any more other requests here. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, we got a few more requests here. Okay, I think I've been live for about an hour now. I'll take these next 3 or 4 requests here. And then we'll finish up this live stream. Okay, so right now we're gonna be looking at Sui, and then Crow, and then what's the other one that I thought I saw another one here. Yeah, we'll look at the Sui and Kronos. Oh, and XCN. Yeah, we'll look at those 3. We'll do XCN first because I saw that come in first on the chat. So we'll look at XCN, and then we'll look at Sui, and then we'll look at Kronos. And then that's gonna be it for today, guys. Appreciate the requests. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys, if you're liking my my analysis here. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Click follow if you're a TikTok streamer, viewer. All right, so yeah, we are now looking at Onyx coin, XCN. A little bit below 2 cents right now. We'll look at the daily chart for XCN. I know it might be a lot of things going on here. Let me get rid of the VRVP first. XCN made a lot of news this week because you had some pretty giant green candles here. You up like 40%. on Wednesday. Then what, here on Thursday you were also up another 36%, and then Friday up 24%. Seems as though right after Donald Trump put a pause on tariffs, this thing just went nuts on Wednesday. Okay. And you defended the 200-day moving average. The bulls were able to defend the 200-day moving average, so kudos to them for doing that. But you are overheated on the RSI, and that's why this thing is starting to come down, right? We saw this thing get as high as what? Almost 3 cents on Friday, about 0.027 pennies here, and now we're below 2 pennies. So yeah, and the reason being is because we got overcooked here on the RSI of like 75. Anything above 70 is considered overbought on the RSI. So that means that you're most likely going to start trading sideways at best, or possibly coming down. And that's what we're doing here. We're going downward and sideways here on Onyx Coin. If Onyx Coin was to continue being bearish, you might get some support here at this 50-day moving average at about a penny and a half. So I would start putting in my buy orders in, hoping that I get filled at a penny and a half. And then maybe it bounces off that line and goes up to higher prices here if it can get support off the 50-day moving average. Let's see what the MACD is showing. MACD is showing buying pressure, has showed up, but you know, this could start, if you start seeing light green on the MACD, that means you're coming down, and it's reflecting on the charts here. So yeah, if you start seeing light green showing up, then you might get filled. You might get a penny and a half, where you can buy this thing at a penny and a half. It would be interesting if this thing starts showing another dark green candle, because that means the buyers are still buying this thing up. But if you start seeing light green, right, just like back here on Onyx Coin, once you see light green coming in, that means you're coming down, and then you'll start seeing selling pressure start showing up on the MACD. And you saw that like back here in the beginning of January of 2025 here, where you topped out at like 5 cents on this coin, and then look, that MACD showed light green. Then you start seeing some red, and of course, like this thing just kept selling off and going lower and lower and lower on the price. So be on the lookout to see if you see some light green showing up on the MACD. It could possibly mean that you could buy this thing at lower prices if you're going to be bullish on this crypto. Well, let me go ahead and pull up the VRVP, see what the next levels might be for this crypto. We got the point of control saying that about a penny and a half. So like I said, there's that number again, one penny and a half. Okay, that's where the 50-day moving average is at. That's also where the point of control is at. I would start scooping up Onyx Coin, seeing if you can get filled at a penny and a half here. Once you lose like 2 pennies, you can come right down to a penny and a half real quick, because you got a gap here on the VRVP. That's where I'd be trying to buy up this crypto. And then once we continue being bullish, right, then look at this. The gap in the VRVP starts showing that there's not that much volume until you get to like 2.5 pennies. Okay, so yeah, you just be playing that. About 2.5 pennies is the next volume node, and then what, 3 pennies after that. That's how I'd be playing this crypto. All right, we'll move on to Sui and then Kronos. And those are all the requests I'm taking for today, guys. If you have more requests, you should see my next live stream for tomorrow, and I'll try to get to those requests. But these are the last 2 cryptos I'm going to be looking at here. Let's move on to Sui. Sui currently trading at $2.21, down 5%, 5.5% today. And as I start to zoom out, we'll see what the VRVP has to say about Sui. And it's saying that point of control for Sui is right at $2.28. So the point of control is like a a big giant magnet, and that's usually where the price likes to go on the VRVP. So we're already there. Now we have to see if we're going to be able to use that as support and go up to higher prices here on on SUI. And you got a gap here, and then you got like possibly $2.78 could be the next take profit target for SUI. Would still put you below the 200-day moving average, but like once you get up to like basically the 200-day moving average at $3.14, that's where you got like a lot more volume showing up here on the VRVP. So I would say take profit target is about $1 higher than where you are right now on SUI, and then I would start taking profit if I'm short-term trading SUI. Okay. Now let's see. Looking at where we are for support levels here, if SUI continues going down lower for whatever reason, you do have a gap here at like $2.15, so that's not going to hold for long. But then $2.05, right, could be where you might get some support on SUI. And then also you got some volume here at $1.74. Okay. Let me go ahead and get rid of the VRVP now here. And just looking at some old Fibonacci analysis that I did here, this rainbow color looking chart here. Looks like the 0.236 retracement level of about $1.88 should be a good support area for SUI if it does go lower. And then if we do go higher, we got the 0.382 level. $2.55 could be the next take profit target for SUI. Let's see how things are holding up on the MACD here. As I start to zoom in, you can see that we are starting to get some green candles showing up on the MACD. You want to see some more green candles that would push the price up higher, and then maybe you hit that take profit target at $3 and the 200-day moving average. If we start seeing more green candles showing up on SUI, be careful. We might see red come back again at any moment here. And if you see some red candles showing up, then I would be a buyer of SUI, because you know you could probably be scooping up SUI at like $1.80. $1.80 is probably where I'd be scooping up some more SUI if I was going to be bullish on this crypto. And I'm just looking at the RSI right now, and the RSI is just showing that we did have some bullish divergence. We had lower prices here, obviously. But the RSI is showing higher lows here, and it just means that buyers are coming in, they're stepping up. They like $2. They like $2 SUI, so they're buying it up. So you know that there are other people out there that are trying to buy up SUI at $2. So $2 might be able to hold support for SUI. Might be able to see some support at $2. All right, that's SUI. Moving on to Chronos. Right. Chronos currently trading at 8.5 pennies, down 5.4% today. And yeah, I like what I'm seeing here with Chronos. You are starting to create some higher lows here on the RSI. And MACD is showing less selling pressure here. You got some light red showing up on the candles. As that continues, you'll eventually start seeing some buying pressure showing up, and this thing could start coming up to higher prices. And if it does, you want to see it try to recapture and reclaim that 200-day moving average, which is sitting at 11 cents right now. Looks like this cryptocurrency is bottoming out here. We obviously saw higher prices here back in December during the last altcoin season that we had. And what you want to see is you want to see higher lows and higher highs. You definitely want to see a higher high, and you want to see that higher high come in and get higher than this last candle wick here, where we got as high as like 12 cents. So I would say once you see 12, 13 cents on Chronos, you can become even more bullish on Chronos. And that would put you above the 200-day moving average. But yeah, I do like, yeah, look at this. You got low stochastics, you got higher lows showing up on the RSI, you got MACD. showing less selling pressure. This thing looks like it's bottoming out, and then I want my confirmation, right? I want to see this thing come up, make a higher high, get up to like 12 cents, maybe come back down, get some support off the 200-day moving average in the 50-day, and then start going up to higher prices here. Yep. So that's my take here on Chronos. And I think that's gonna be it for today here, guys. Starting to almost lose my voice here. King Louis, you've been long in Sui since $1.72. Those are some good prices. I actually got in Sui around that price. I got in at like $1.65, $1.69 back in October of last year. So I'm also holding some Sui myself, hoping that it goes up to higher prices as well. All right, guys. I think that's gonna be it. Let me just check the chat, make sure I read everybody's comments here. Yep, OM looks really bad. You guys want to probably keep your eyes out on OM Mantra. You probably want to stay away from this cryptocurrency, because from what my friend Jim here is saying, the founders of OM have they deleted their Telegram and they dumped all their coins, and it looks like this is just another rug pull, to be honest. So stay away from OM, stay away from Mantra. That's gonna be, we'll find out some more news later on as the day and the week goes by here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see if there's any more news going into tomorrow about this coin here. Yikes! I feel bad for anybody that's in that right now. But that's the wild, wild west of cryptocurrency world. There's no guarantees that any of these coins, except for Bitcoin and some of the high market cryptocurrency coins, but there's no guarantee that you won't get rug pulled. All right, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next live stream tomorrow. And we'll take a look at this cryptocurrency world, and we'll take a look at Mantra again, see how that one's holding up. Take care, guys.